$12,000 was the tuition of my college. And I knew that would be $300 a month. In 3 years, I would be able to pay it off. True story. Whether or not I got a job or not through the beauty industry, I could still afford to pay it off with the amount of money we were making, plus me working, whatever. We'd figure it out. But I didn't go. I let him control me. Fast forward to May. I was very resentful towards him. I was resentful towards him since he told me I couldn't go, because I realized at that point that I couldn't. Anything that I did only benefited him. Anything I did was only for him. Anything that he wanted me to do was benefit for him. And I don't think that that's a way a person should live. I don't think that's what a way a woman should feel. And it was gross and disgusting what he did to me. Like, nobody should be doing that to anybody. And so our marriage went on. And May of that year, 2016, we decided that my Mazda was a piece of shit. We were spending a lot of money on it. And we decided to start looking for vehicles. And we went to places. We went by Hanover. We went to the surrounding areas. We couldn't find anything we liked. I liked a Jeep, but we didn't get approved for it. So that... unless we had a co-signer, and Hanover is quite a ways away from us. So, and that's here in southern Ontario. My husband looked online and found a vehicle at Hannah Motors in Collingwood area and Collingwood, Wasaga Beach area. So these guys will now know where my location is, somewhere on the map of Ontario, within that vicinity. And we got approved because his dad decided to co-sign, and his mom, which is a big part of our relationship. Anything we did, she needed to know. A whole other fucking story. I'm not bashing her. I don't care about it anymore, but it was a big part of our growth as a couple and what made us come out stronger I found out my true strength through that. And so and he was content with it. And by the way, when I mean $12,000, it's very ironic because that's the same amount as my tuition. So I hope you put 2 and 2 together. But he said we couldn't afford it. But we could afford it. $300 a month, give or take, with taxes. And I knew we could afford it. In 3 years, we'd have it paid off. They said, oh, you can go for 5 years. I said, no, we'll do 3 years. I signed papers, he signed papers, and his dad signed papers, and we were good to go. And during this time, I found out essentially that what I signed for was financial. I did not sign for the actual truck itself, which is the reason why he still has the truck. It sucks. But make sure you do your paperwork with somebody, you guys, because it's bullshit. Fast forward a bit more to February. Back to February. My grandma had got really sick. She ended up having a heart attack. She was like my mother. She helped raise me. She's been there since I was a kid. Like a baby. I have a blanket. Actually, I have it on the other side. A blanket my grandmother gave me, and I was her suck. She was my grandma, but she was like my mom. And when she was going through all this stuff, I was driving back and forth from London, and I was dealing with a lot of stress from work, and I just didn't give a shit anymore. I started drinking. I started drinking really heavily. I'm not proud of it. I was absent when I did this. I was absent from my kids. I would sit up in my room and I'd drink. and just sulk and do makeup. Like, the only thing that kept me going was makeup, not even my kids, nothing. And that's one thing that, as a person, if you can admit that, then I know my flaws. I know my flaws. I really do. And the drinking became so bad that I went to work hungover. I'd stay up till 4 in the morning, drink, go to work for 6 o'clock in the morning. It's not a life to live. It's not a healthy way to live. But I was finding out that my grandmother was dying. And so she went for surgery, and me and my mom, our bond became a lot more stronger. Like, before, like, I appreciated my mom, but my grandma she was like my mom. And mine and my mom's relationship became more stronger because we cried together. My grandma wasn't waking up. She wasn't responding to everything. She kept having seizures. She had a grand mal seizure. When I was standing there, I was rubbing her arm and, saying, "I love you, Grandma." And because I guess I rubbed her arm, I caused her to have a grand mal seizure sort of thing. Too much. When you touch somebody that's out like that, something happened where it caused her to go into a grand mal seizure. She had she had the windpipe down her throat to help her breathe. She wasn't breathing properly. So seeing her have an open heart surgery and having all these bottles up top her bed and watching fluid drain out of her and finding out all these things, it really built me up. It built me up really bad to watch someone die like that. When my grandma did pass, my mom was there, and my middle child, Owen, was there, and Owen was so close to my grandma, and he looked so much like me. And my grandma always said, "I love all them kids, but I don't know what it is about that Owen of mine. He's just something different." So Owen was her baby in a sense. So that's one thing, like, I had to work, and I came home from work, and I was tired, and I was like, I should go up to the hospital, but I can't. I'm fucking tired. So I stayed home. I don't know why, but Owen was gone. He was gone with my mom. My mom I took my mom up to go buy a bunch of school snacks and such, and her and Kaylee, my sister, and my son Owen were at the hospital with my grandma, and I was at home with Ethan. I don't know where Alex was. I can't remember. I don't know if he was, but it was like close to midnight, and I was sitting on the couch, and I looked up, and all I seen was my grandma's face just sitting there, just hovering. No body, just my grandma's face. I blinked, and I rubbed my eyes, and I was like, wow, like, this can't be fucking real right now. So as soon as I stood up, she was gone.